the polls will soon close in South Carolina, where Republicans are choosing that party's candidate for U.S. Senate. So here's where we are at this hour. Current Senator Darline Graham, sister of the late Senator Lindsay Graham, fighting to defeat Representative Ralph Norman in the GOP primary runoff. The winner will go on to face Democratic nominee Annie Andrews in November. CBS News senior White House and political correspondent Ed O'Keefe is in a white-hot Columbia, South Carolina. Ed, good to see you. So what do these two Republicans bring to the table for GOP voters?
Reed, good to see you. Well, for Darline Graham, it's obvious. The family connections, the fact she says she's worked in public service in one way or another for several decades, and that she has, at least so far, proven to be a reliable yes vote for President Trump. Ralph Norman would turn around and say, I've got more experience in Washington, more experience as a legislator, and my conservative background lines up pretty well with the MAGA base that elects the president in red states like South Carolina. And he also, has a proven political record that has brought him modest success, at least in his congressional district. He had tried running for governor earlier this year. But this race has come down to essentially a question of experience. Do you want someone like Norman, who has been in Washington, knows how to legislate, or someone like Graham, who last week stumbled over questions about national security and this week can't answer specific questions on affordability, but says, I'm not a politician, and neither was President Trump. And he's doing all right, fellow Republicans. That's why you should send me back to Washington. As you said, whoever wins this one has the edge in this predominantly Republican state against the Democrat Annie Andrews.
Well, and then there's the question of endorsement. So does it appear that the president's full court press endorsement in support of Darline Graham is working with voters who heard that comment about foreign policy and maybe having a question?
We'll know in about 42 minutes as the polls start to close. But this is a big gamble for the president. It was he who told the governor and other Republicans in this state that Darline Graham should be the pick. He came down here to campaign for her late last week. He held a telephone town hall for her last night. And his MAGA Incorporated, the big political organization that has more than $400 million in the bank, has spent about $800,000 in change getting out the message on her behalf as well. So that's the first sign of money being spent from that big account on behalf of Republicans here in the closing 70 days or so of the election. There are Republicans all across the country wondering when and how that money is going to be spent. Here, at least, a modest sum has been spent so far, and we'll see if she wins how much more he might be willing to spend for her going into November.
All right, we know you'll have it. Ed O'Keefe, thank you so much. Always good to talk to you.